Hey everyone, Eric on paper, and I am not Eric, I am actually a replicant. Just kidding. So, this episode is going to be pretty cool. I did Nightcrawler with old school inking techniques, and then I'm going to color him digitally. But he was suggested by my dad, and I figured, hey, really early Father's Day present. I don't have to get you anything. Just kidding, Dad. I'll figure out something.
So this is another of my infusion drawings, and just to prove it, there I am getting the Remicade that I need, and here's the Nightcrawler in progress that I was working on, and how am I doing? Oh, pretty good, apparently. Okay, so getting started with the inking, the first thing that I like to do when I'm inking with a brush or some medium where I'm not 100% comfortable with is to start off on a simpler area. And an area with heavy shadows works the best. Always try to work from left to right so you avoid smearing the ink. It's a lesson that I keep forgetting all the time. Thankfully, I didn't make any great blunders here. And in a case like Nightcrawler, where his costume is black, you could technically get away with making it a black solid. I've seen many great bits of artwork done of the character like that. As a matter of fact, on the wall that I filmed the introductions on, there's a great Todd Knock piece where Nightcrawler is completely black in the costume, but I prefer to have the details there so we can have more fun with the coloring. Try to keep your lines what they call cursive lines, starting thin, getting thick in the middle, and ending thin, or vice versa. Just give them a life, and that takes a lot of practice, a lot of drills to get right. For older buildings, I don't ink with a roller. I prefer to go by hand because the natural waver of your hand will give it more life and more texture work. And here, since I want to detail shadows, I just went in with a micron and added a whole lot more of them. And to give the shadows texture, shape, and definition, it became a lot of cross-hatching instead of just a regular black shadow. Okay, now here we are with the colors. I spent a lot of time working on the sky with this one, and the mistake that I'm making right now that you'll see me correct is I'm having the sun or the light source come from the wrong direction, like underneath him from the sky, when I did all my inking to emphasize heavier lines coming from below. So now I'm putting the lighting in the right place. Just a reminder, you don't have to be perfect in art. You can always find a way to go back and correct those mistakes. And the main thing is when I'm working on these backgrounds, first and foremost, is not only am I setting an atmosphere, but I'm trying to get the characters just so with the lighting reference, so when I do the shading, it makes sense for them. And in the case of a character like Nightcrawler, where he has the blue flesh tones, purple sky or a blue sky, they're in danger of getting a little washed out. And for the purposes of just this tutorial, or just this drawing of Nightcrawler, I gave him kind of an orangey purple autumn fall sky look. And I personally like how it's coming out, even though it took me a long while to get there. And now I'm starting to build up and add more shadows and highlights to the scene, but one of the things I wanted was depth, in particular with the background, so I just added a single solid layer and erased the inked lines I had given for the clouds because I wanted it to look more painterly, more blended in, and have the more comic book style with the heavy outline art stand out a bit more. And I wasn't a big fan of how these crunchy edges looked, so I just went in and added a few blur and separation filters just to make everything right. And now finally going in to start coloring Nightcrawler, and he took a lot of experimentation to get right. I did a lot of editing on this video. Just to make me like, oh yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing 100% of the time. But overall, I decided to go with some blues to highlight his costume look and again make him pop from the background. Even a cool color can pop out against a cool color in the same hue or color spectrum can pop out against a darker color. And adding in the highlights now matching the direction of the clouds because I went in and corrected that. See, I went a little too heavy on that blue. And going back in, I realized I had colored his face in a little too brightly, a little too much. So this is a rare case where I went back in and added shadows. And to do that, I just went for the basic color I flatted him in and proceeded to paint over the work I'd done. It's a tug of war method sometimes, and you just have to do what feels right for the drawing. And who knows, I may come back later and realize, hey, I shouldn't have done that. But for now, it's what feels right. And when adding highlights, really use them to pop out the shapes so that they don't get lost. Like if I didn't do his knee over his leg, it would look like this weird blobby mess. But now you can see definition of the pieces. And same here with the hand is that it's completely dark, but you add in those highlights and now it stands out from the leg. And you have to keep in mind where the highlights are coming from, that they're different colors. For example, I have this orange highlight coming in from the right and this yellow highlight coming in from the top. And what this could be is like, well, the yellow could be the sun of some kind, and the orange could be, I don't know, street light or something from the environment. It doesn't have to make 100% sense. It just has to feel right. And then I'm coming back in with the blues and looking at it, and in the final piece, I realized this is way, way too blue. So when that happens, just go back into your flatting layer, select the color areas that you want, and then I just used a hue saturation filter and changed the hue a little bit and brought down the saturation. It made it look, it just looked better because right now it looks nice, but it looks a little too much like a 90s trading card, which isn't exactly what I was going for. So this was a lot of fun to work on. We're wrapping this up pretty soon. I just went in and added some white highlights and did that color change later. And of course, added Nightcrawler's iconic yellow eyes.
Well, yeah, Nightcrawler's a lot of fun, and I love doing the old school inking techniques. And as per usual, let me know what characters you would like to see. I'm leaning towards doing Iron Man Mark 42 because he is going to be such a challenge for me. I'm not the world's greatest technical artist, but art is all about pushing your limits, right? I hope.